Hey everyone, it's October 11th, and for today's Horror Movie Marathon of Fest 2016 movie, I watched Stage Fright. It's a horror musical um, from 2014 or 2013, depending on who you ask. It was directed by Jerome Sable, I believe, um, and co-written by Jerome Sable and others. I'm looking at IMDb here. And it stars Meatloaf, the rock star. Minnie Driver is in it. And then you've got Ally McDonald, Douglas Smith, a bunch of other people. Minnie Driver and Meatloaf are the two that I'm familiar with. I don't really know anybody else that was in this. Um, so it's a slasher movie that's a musical, and it's about a theater camp basically that's putting on a musical, and at the same time, someone is killing off the people. um, and so there are the songs from the musical that's being produced within the movie, and then there are songs that are part of the movie because it's a musical. Catch all that. Um, and this, I'm not a huge fan of musicals. I do like Evil Dead the musical and Reefer Madness the musical, but other than that, I'm not a huge fan. But I thought I'd try something. This was on Netflix, so I thought I'd give it a try. The songs in here aren't bad. Some of them are typical musical number type songs, and you have a lot of layering of lyrics where you'll have um, one person or group of people singing one thing, and then you have another person or group of people singing something else, and then possibly at one point there's even a third person, and then all three are sort of layered on top and they're all singing at the same time. So they do that a couple of times, I believe, and it works pretty well. What I did like most musically was the killer. Um, Very rock and roll. They call him, at least in the credits, I think, for the guy that does the voice they credit him as the metal killer. So it's very very metal. Um, that real high pitched um, singing and a lot of heavy guitar. But I did dig those songs because I like that kind of stuff. And there's even, if you stay and watch the end credits, uh, it starts out with the metal killer singing bits of songs that are in the movie, and they're not songs that he sings, songs that other people sing, and he's doing his metal rendition of it. But as the credits continue to roll, he starts singing about the people that are still there watching the credits, and basically thanks people for staying and watching the credits. It was kind of funny. Um, and I stayed because I wanted to hear the song, the music, because again, I liked that the heavy guitar and the metal singer. This movie pays homage to a lot of other movies. You could say The Camp is an homage to Friday the 13th. There is a one of those styrofoam like wig heads is filled with pins. So of course you have Hellraiser there. There's a large butcher knife that's in use quite a bit. So one could say Halloween. Um, oh, and there's definitely an homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Leatherface's little dance at the end of that movie. You have a kid who's building sets and has a circular saw, and at one point he raises the saw above his head and does the little dance, the little Leatherface dance. And then the movie itself really is formulaic. The movie starts 10 years ago, and something horrible happens, and then we jump to 10 years later, and we know what happened, but we don't know who did it. Um, and so then we're introduced to the older some older versions of characters we saw 10 years ago, and then all the new characters, and everything starts happening, and eventually everything will be revealed. And there were a lot of slasher films in the 80s that followed that formula, um, where, Halloween didn't, um, because we saw that it was Michael Myers from the very beginning. Friday the 13th um, did, but a lot of others really just went with, I think, Prom Night, um, and possibly Happy Birthday to Me. A lot of them followed this formula, and this one really like sticks to it. It was very much reminiscent of those old slasher movies. Um, but yeah, the performances were good. Meatloaf. I don't know if it's just the mustache that makes him almost unrecognizable. um, and Minnie Driver, like I said, has her little bit. She's fine. Um, and the let's see, gotta bring this back up on the phone. Do 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 do. Allie McDonald, is that what I said her name was? Yes, Allie McDonald. She was fantastic. Um, and I don't know. Obviously, the Metal Killer has his own credit as a singer, as the singing voice. I don't know how much of the singing is done by the actual actors. I assume Meatloaf did his own singing. And I didn't really see any other credits. I didn't read everything, but I didn't see any other credits for other actors or non-actors doing the singing voices for the actors. So I can't say. Did you hear that little tone? That means my phone is finally charged up. But not really sure what else to say. This movie wasn't bad. It wasn't great. There are some pretty nice kills in it. It's If you're a slasher movie fan, it's not a bad homage. I suppose if you're a fan of musicals, you probably need to be a fan of horror films as well. Because if you're just a fan of musicals and not a fan of horror films, it might be a little shocking to you. Um, so it was all right. Uh, not the worst movie I've watched this October. I think that still goes to The Wicker Man, um, which was just bad. And this wasn't too horrible. That makes it sound worse than it was. It was enjoyable. I keep forgetting to give ratings. I've only given a few ratings so far this month, but I think I'm going to give this one. Um, I'll say 5.5 kabuki masks out of 10. 5.5 out of 10 kabuki masks. Uh, just because it's got some good stuff, but aside from the music, the fact that it's a musical, I'm not sure there's anything too innovative about it. Uh, so there you have it. That's Stage Fright, movie number 11 in October of 2016. And that's it. That's all I got. So I'll see you tomorrow.